according to FBI officials, was actually 33-year-old Ukrainian immigrant Inna Yashishin. She wasn't a member of the Rothschild family. Anna de Rothschild doesn't exist in any family lineage, nor was there ever a Russian Rothschild branch. Instead, she's alleged to have built a fake identity to help run charity scams, fraudulent business ventures, and a variety of grifts where she inserted herself into wealthy circles based on the power of her name. For her part, Yashishin denies ever having taken on the persona of a wealthy European heiress, and instead claims she's the victim of an abusive former partner, a Florida-based Russian business person who she said forced her into these schemes. And the story gets even more sordid. Said former partner was soon shot dead in a small Quebec resort town by a purported member of the Canadian Hells Angels, while Yashishin herself seems to have fallen afoul of Russian organized crime, allegedly owing $150,000 to a tattooed member of a Russian criminal syndicate who, in turn, threatened to kill Yashishin. One might be tempted to focus on how a person with such dangerous and criminal associations could get into the orbit of the former president and current members of the U.S. Congress. But the answer might lie in how her chosen nom de grift opened the door in the first place. De Rothschild almost certainly wasn't picked at random, but chosen precisely because of its connotations. And it was a wise choice. Another Mar-a-Lago member remarked in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette piece that broke this story that guests fawned all over her, and because of the Rothschild mystique, they never probed and instead tiptoed around her with kid gloves. The Rothschild mystique was all it took to get an accused grifter and associate of the Russian mob past the Secret Service and next to Donald Trump. Such is the power of the history and legend of the Rothschild name. People heard the name and were able to be convinced that the person who held it had access to vast familial wealth passed down through generations. And sure enough, if she had been a Rothschild, that would have been true. But that mystique has a long-standing dark side that goes much deeper and is much more profound than one alleged con artist. There's an alternate history of the Rothschild banking family that portrays them not as a family of accomplished business people, but as puppet masters who control all but a few central banks, have funded both sides of every war since the American Revolution, hold as much as 80% of the world's wealth in their coffers, and are part of a sick occult web of rituals that involve murder and human sacrifice. The Rothschild mystique walks alongside a Rothschild conspiracy theory industry that is, unfortunately, tied to some of the most violent spasms of antisemitism of the last 2 centuries. It started with inflammatory pamphlets on the streets of Paris, continued through pro-Union U.S. newspapers of the 1860s, morphed into whispers of Jewish control of the Federal Reserve and the rise of fascism, then wormed its way into the deepest recesses of Cold War paranoia, Clinton-era anti-New World Order hysteria, and the internet hate culture of this very moment. And in the 21st century, the industry dedicated to smearing the Rothschilds turned against a more recent public figure of Jewish wealth, the Hungarian billionaire George Soros, while continuing to attack the Rothschilds for things they haven't done and a scale of wealth that nobody possesses. Almost all conspiracy theories are rooted in antisemitism, and almost all antisemitism is rooted in conspiracy theories. Jewish people will always be scapegoats for some people, and the Rothschilds are some of the best-known Jews in modern history. In many ways, the story of Rothschild conspiracy theories is the story of modern antisemitism.